Hey everybody, hope you all are doing well and welcome back to Whiskey Wonders. And today we are doing a Whiskey Wander at a local Total Wine here in Los Angeles in the city of Glendale that actually has a pretty good selection of some of the harder to find whiskeys. Primarily, we're looking at the Bardstown Discovery Series number 8 and a very interesting variation on the Islay Classic Laphroaig 10, but in this iteration, it has been finished in Sherry Cask. So we'll see those bottles and we will see so many more. Now, before we get to the video, if you like these videos, if you like the wanders, if you like the hauls, if you like the reviews, the unbottlings, the unboxings, and really all the amazing stuff, and the drink throughs, we got drink throughs coming here too. If you like those things, please don't forget to like and subscribe because it does really help the channel to grow, and we are so thankful for that. But also because you get updates when our newest videos come out on Sundays and sometimes whenever they come out in between. All right, now let's get down to the video. All right, so while we are waiting for the WandaVision to get warmed up, and really waiting for me to get warmed up, let's do a real quick whiskey check. And today I'm going to be enjoying, you know what? I think we're going to have to pop open this new Four Roses small batch. So I'm going to be enjoying some of this Four Roses small batch, which is one of my go-to whiskeys. And I got a freshie here. So let's get the bottle turned over both sides. See if we can get the packaging off here. This is the most challenging part of it. That off. See if we can get a pop. Hey, that's pretty good. And let's get some juice here. Oh, yeah. All right, and to whiskey. Because, honestly, you can never really drink too much of it. You can only just drink it too fast. Cheers. Oh, yeah. That is a neck pour for sure. All right, so first up for today is going to be this Bardstown's Discovery Series number 8. And I believe they are up to 10 at this point. And in fact, you know, I think we have one. Yeah, we have one that we got before. This one is number 6, but they look very similar. Let's see here. Yeah, this is number 6, which you can see there. And you can tell by the proof number 111.1. So this is the number 6. But the one we saw here at Total Wine is going to be number 8. Now, Bardstown's Discovery Series is kind of one of those whiskeys that I think is made for the nerdiest of nerdy whiskey lovers. And I mean that in the best of spirits. It has a mash bill that basically reads like a calculus problem that's tattooed to the side of a Rubik's Cube. But I would imagine it is that complexity. It is that sensory kind of confusion that would really draw a whiskey lover into this. I mean, it has whiskeys in it from Indiana, from Kentucky, as well as from Ontario, and each of them having their own mash bills intertwined together really makes that whiskey, yes, expensive, but also seems to be a lot of a crowd pleaser. Just to put a specific tip on it, the 12-year-old Kentucky whiskey that's inside of it is composed of 78% corn, 10% rye, and 12% malted barley, and makes up 66% of the juice. Is that the same? No, there's different percentages on this one. While the 7-year-old Indiana rye whiskey is made up from 51% rye, 45% corn, and 4% malted barley. And additionally, there is an 11% of the juice that is made up from the 12-year-old whiskey from Ontario that is 100% rye. And lastly, a 6-year-old Indiana rye that is 95% rye and 5% malted barley. So I guess the point that I'm getting at here is that even some of the other really highly carbonated whiskeys, like some of the barrel spirits or maybe the High West whiskeys, I mean, these start to look like paint by the numbers in comparison to this Bardstown's Discovery Series. That being said, the price that we can see it here at Total Wine in Glendale does reflect what the cost for complexity is, because we see it at $134.99, which is definitely not cheap. I have also seen it at one of our local liquor purveyors here in Los Angeles for as low as $119.99, which is the lowest that I have seen. And I have not yet seen it at least the 8 version at Costco. The number 6, this one I think we got at Costco in maybe Tustin like last year for $114.99. So, oh, you know what? It was Fountain Valley. It was Fountain Valley. So we really can see what a difference a series number ends up making. So this means that if we did pick this one up, the Bardstown number 8 at the Total Wine, we would have ended up overpaying over our local liquor emporium by about $15 or 11.11%, which is unusual. Typically, Total Wine only usually comes in overpriced against Costco, but I guess not in this situation. The ABV on the Discover Series number 8 is at 57.05% or 114.1 proof, which is pretty good. It's definitely going to be something that will get a night going real quick, or could be a really nice nightcap. And the tasting notes on it mention things like burnt sugar, cinnamon, char, rye spice, ripe berries, and the fact that it is complex, kind of duh, but also is very well balanced, which honestly is pretty impressive to be able to manage all these kind of big whiskey personalities floating around in one single space. It's like watching the final season of Big Brother. Anyways, the reviews on it are pretty good, getting 89 points out of 100 on average, from what I could find, at least that is available publicly. But that's pretty good. I mean, that is definitely exceptional. And I have not tried this one as of yet, the number 6 yet, but I'll get there eventually. So either way, this one looks great on paper, but the price is going to be a little steep for what we're looking at. I guess one of my hesitancies with this is that with so many variables in place, with so many different whiskeys and changing mash bills and all that complexity that happens each of these series, sure, they may each of them be good, but each of them are going to be different. And that also means that if you buy one, like, you know, any of them, the 8 or the 10 or the 9, and you like it, well, and then you're never going to find it again down the road. So anyways, I also already have this one, and the price was a bit high on this one, so Bardstown's going to be a pass in this case. So next up is a whiskey that I really often enjoy, at least in its standard form. And when I see standard whiskeys coming out with new kinds of versions, that's one thing that I really like. Which we can see here is this Laphroaig Sherry Oak, which promises all the enjoyable flavors of Laphroaig 10, but with a nice sherry nuanced infused into it. So definitely piqued my interest. Now, like I said, I really thoroughly enjoy Laphroaig. Let's get that cleared up right away. And I drink it relatively often. I think we almost always have at least one open up on the bar, and you can see this one, the 10, which is the standard. You know, it's almost down to the very bottom. But there is something about Laphroaig that always leaves me wondering if maybe I should be drinking Lagavulin instead. Now, I don't think that Laphroaig is worse per se. It just, you know, kind of like Coke and Pepsi. I love Coke, and I can't stand the taste of Pepsi, even though they are pretty close to identical. Same things goes with the standard versions of Lagavulin and Laphroaig. But when it starts to get into these kind of niche notch holes in the family trees, this is where Laphroaig, I think, has a lot of room to gain on Lagavulin, who do release variations on their standard whiskeys, but they never really stray that far from the baseline. The Laphroaig 10 sherry that we see here is going to be the standard Laphroaig 10, like what's in this bottle, aged in ex-bourbon barrels, but it is finished off last year or so in ex-sherry Oloroso casks, which gives it a really interesting kind of rust color and a palate that starts to lean a lot more towards dried fruits than the classic Islay sweet and peat. It has a mash bill of 100% malted barley. It has an ABV that is slightly higher than the standard Laphroaig, which I think this one is at 43%. Yeah, so standard Laphroaig, 43%. Now, the price that we see at the Laphroaig 10 Sherry Oak here at Total Wine is at $81.99, which is pretty steep in price, especially because you can find the standard one between $30 and $40. So it's basically double the price. But it still has a pretty good price at Total Wine in comparison to what you would pay if you found it. I think we found it at the local grocery store here for $108.99, or at Bevmo, who actually is the closest price in this case. Good job, Bevmo. Well done. At $89.99. So that means that if we did end up picking this one up at Total Wine, we would have saved about $8 off the Bevmo price, or 9.76%. Now, like I had said before, the Laphroaig Sherry Oak actually has a higher ABV at 48%, which I would imagine is one of those things that really does kind of bump up the price in addition to the cost for the Oloroso barrels and the aging and all that kind of stuff. And the tasting notes on it mention that there is the standard iodine, salt brine, and crushed seashell flavors, but it also mentions a very delightful jamminess of sherry with dried currants and overripe cranberries, which do actually sound pretty good. The review scores I could find on it put the average score at 88 points out of 100. But ultimately, for the Sherry Oak, this one's going to be a pass. And I think the main reason why we decided to pass on this one is the Laphroaig, it has so many versions and so many variations of the sherry finish. There is this one, the Sherry Oak. There's the PX, the Pedro Jimenez one that we see at the duty frees. There's a Cartagena's one as well, which I think is some sort of sherry. And there's another one that I can't really think of off the top of my head at this point. But there's just so many choices. And I'm also, the thing is, I'm not really willing to spend double the price on an Islay that I like. I do like it, but I don't, you know, I don't love it. So this one is interesting. I think it's an interesting approach to it, and I hope to get to try it maybe at a company event or at a bar or somewhere like that. But as far as buying a bottle, gonna be a pass. All right, so that's it for today's Whiskey Wonders at the Total Wine, located in Los Angeles in Glendale. And I really hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, if you like these wonders, if you like the hauls, if you like the reviews, the unboxings, the drink-throughs, and really all the amazing stuff we got cooking up for you. And we have tons of amazing stuff cooking up for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because it does really help the channel to grow. And again, we are so thankful for that. But also, I like to think that it is good for your whiskey mojo. It pleases the whiskey gods. And also, you get notifications when our newest videos come out on Sundays, and sometimes in between. Now, before I go, just remember, if you do find a whiskey that you love, just buy it. Because if you don't, somebody else surely will. And not in this case, but in most cases, it might even be me. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. I'm out, and adios.